classroom methods and consideration. So it doesn't look like I was thinking it doesn't look like I know anyone here. And then I realized I don't know anyone in preschool in Utah right now. So let's see. I have 15 years experience with behavior support in early education. I was started with the special education and ABA director in the first inclusive preschool in China, international preschool. So we had children from a wide range of, languages, learning styles, neurotypical, not neurotypical. And it was really fun. I then became the director of the preschool. And we worked a lot with Chinese and other Asian legislators to facilitate behavior support as a way of having inclusion in preschools all over that area. So that was kind of cool. So now we're going to just go, okay, so the presentation, we'll go over the overview, which is the next slide. Sorry, because I'm running two things. Okay, so section 1, this is our agenda, is the landscape, which is just generally what's going on for behavior support in the preschool classroom. I'm going to rely a lot on the experts in this field for communication and feedback. I guess you guys can all sit like that, but I may have you, I'm not in charge, but I may have you cluster up so that we could have more direct feedback and comments, because I think that's better and more interactive. Section 2 is strategies and implementation. So we'll go over not just the landscape, but strategies for inclusion and behavior support in the preschool classroom and how we really actually implement that. Section 3 is going to be tools for the empowerment and support of the students, the administration, and the teachers. In my consulting that I've done, and as far as I'm getting a lot of educator feedback that they don't feel like they have been trained sufficiently in behavior support methods, especially for the kind of behaviors that they're seeing, or the training is very technical. One good thing is we can do this training in 3 languages. I have done it, so I think we can tone down the technique and maybe get some things going. Okay, so that's the agenda. Let's move forward. Okay, section 1, the landscape. That's the picture of landscape. Okay, so there are some problems right now, at least this research is all in the backs of the appendix, and I think we'll have a link to the PowerPoint. Some problems in, the rise of behavior. Oh, I have to do this. Sorry, okay. So the problems some people think that the problems in behavior support issues in early education and preschool, which by all accounts are increasing or maybe rising mental health issues, from the United States Pediatrics survey, anxiety and depression in children 3 to 7 increased by 27 and 24%. There's rising suspension and expulsion and rising behavior and conduct problems. I think it's a 21 increase over the previous year. So from my personal experience, 10 years ago, when I started working in special education classrooms and inclusion, I was seeing behavior support issues that I was seeing with people or students with a skills deficit gap that these children were normally not neurotypical, but lately the severe behavior problems that I've been called on to consult are with the people a wide range of the spectrum. And so that's kind of interesting as far as preschool inclusion series. Okay, so we'll move on. Let's see. Okay, so the landscape is there's needs critical for effective behavior supports, the importance of addressing the needs in early childhood education, the impact on children's development and broader educational landscape. There's challenges. The challenge I've heard about are an increase in the behavior support problem in early education, a lack of support and training for frontline staff, back to the mental health crisis in early childhood. And opportunities are continuous professional development that can create a dynamic skill set that adapts to evolving needs, addressing individual needs, and this goes with an individual education plan, and fostering collaboration between educators, parents, and support staff. That's also community engagement, and we have some technologies tools and procedural tools that I can recommend, and I would love to hear what you all recommend. resource constraints and resource constraints encourage educators to innovate, finding creative solution and leveraging technology to enhance behavior support strategies. Right now, let's see. Okay, so if you all want to, or let's cluster into groups, and if we can find a need, a challenge, and an opportunity from your experience, I'd like to kind of get an idea of what these preschool educators are thinking about the landscape of behavior support. That'll be, oh, she did 10 minutes, but I'll do 8. So do y'all kind of want to get in groups of 2 or 3? Okay, so it's needs, challenges, and opportunities that you all find in your work. Thanks. Okay, we're 2 minutes more for the 8, just if you guys can wrap up with your groups. Okay. I believe that we are at the 8 minutes. Is everyone ready? Cool. Okay, so we discussed, we wanted everyone to identify a need, challenge, and opportunity that they've seen in their experience. And if each group wants to get a spokesperson and kind of summarize for us what they found. Perfect. The lady in the cream, or the friend in the cream, our colleague. So, okay.
Okay, so we have a lot of behaviors in preschool now. You know, we were just talking about how, like, with approach, because a lot of kids come into preschool with no language. In our experiences, they don't know sign language and they don't have spoken language. So we're struggling to help them without any language. So we're trying to collaborate with the parents as well, because, you know, the same things that are happening at home are happening at school. So we're just trying to, you know, analyze different ways to help kids in our classroom. And an increased professional development that actually fits with early childhood.
Nice. Okay, that sounds good. That's a need. And then a challenge is the lack of language, and opportunities would be professional development. That's kind of for earlier education. That's great. That's great feedback. Anyone else? That's kind of what I have in the rest of my presentation. I could have just asked you guys. No, I'm sorry, y'all. So, anyone else? I see a hand over there.
So yeah, basically just to piggyback, the needs, just lots of aggressive behavior and children that are that come in with not a lot of support and not a lot of strategies, and we're teaching them these strategies, we're teaching them these skills.
Sorry, we're quiet.
Am I quiet? I thought I was loud. And so that was our need, just lots of behaviors, lots and lots, and in each of our classes, and trying to figure out how to navigate a classroom full of other children when sometimes you have 2 adults to 1 kid because of the aggressive behavior, and just feeling like we're just doing a lot of keeping the behaviors at bay and not really working on the actual problem, just, you know, putting a Band-Aid on it. That was really our biggest challenge, I think. And opportunities, yes, professional development, but more, I think, collaboration. I think talking to other teachers and just getting like concrete examples and things that work for them, and just have some more things in our toolbox, because I feel like the aggressive behaviors, I've been in special ed a long time. I'm on year 18, but the aggressive behaviors have just been getting worse. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know if it's screens. I don't, you know, it's just the last few years I've seen a lot more aggressive behavior among the younger generation.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask a follow-up?
Sure.
So for collaboration opportunities, that's not toolbox. Do you think like I'm trying to think about this, like an online support group where you talked about specific situations and specific solutions would be useful? Or I guess case studies, that's what they call it in law.
Yeah, I just think sometimes it comes down to just a quick like conversation that really is off the cuff and is just easy to talk to somebody, and something quick and easy, because we're busy and we don't have that extra time to come and do all this professional development. Getting more professional development means getting a sub in our classroom, and that's not always convenient and easy. And then we're putting our aides with, you know, we don't have subs in our district very often. So we have a lot of, we leave our kids with the aides, and that's just tricky, you know? So it's just something that you can just sit with somebody quickly and just get some ideas, concrete examples. That would be.
I think the concrete is really critical.
Yeah.
And like some actual solution. Oh, sorry. I just feel like a lot of times in professional development, you get theoretical ideas, but I think, like she said, the concrete examples of you know, like if you have this behavior and kind of some, maybe even some modeling, some strategies where you could see what it looks like and maybe like some follow-up, I don't know, where you could say, okay, I tried this and this is what happened, and maybe get a different idea to try that you may work better.
It's almost like coaching. It's almost like more coaching versus, yeah, more coaching, more hands-on.
Would anyone else like to kind of talk about the needs, challenges, and opportunities that their group identified? Hope you can hear me. No? Okay, cool, that's fine. Okay, so I think we all agree that there's a critical need for effective behavior supports. And that the early intervention for behavioral issues, whether or not, if there's a diagnosis for the student or if there's not a diagnosis, does set a positive trajectory for a child's early educational journey. And I'm sure you all have seen this. I have seen behavior supports implemented that really were appropriate for the student, were appropriate for the educational environment, and were appropriate and had correct community engagement, where it really was just like miracle grow. The trajectory of that student and the data indicated really changed. A lot of that, as I'm sure you all know, is communication training. So to kind of illustrate an example of what happens, as we all know, when you cannot communicate, we're going to have an activity right now. So, okay, so this is oh wait, I need to put it here. I'm working with two computers. Okay, so I'm sure that someone in your kind of someone around you has paper. How many people have paper? I should have brought paper, but I didn't know if it was 200 or 30. Okay, good teachers. Okay, so early educators are very good at context and understanding what's going on for context. I'm not going to give you any context. I'm just going to give you instruction, but it's not, it's not to be opaque. Okay, so everyone has their paper ready if they want to raise their hand when they do, and they're ready to follow an instruction. Okay, looks like, okay, we'll give a few more minutes. Yes, some groups I do this activity with, they have no idea what I'm doing, but I have to be a little more sly with preschool teachers and people who've worked with early education because it seems to figure it out. So they seem to, okay. Okay, so I would like you all to write your first name and possibly your last name as slow as possible. Please take 90 seconds. That's our goal. Let's make it really slow. Not because you don't starve. Because you're right. Okay, because you're right. It's okay. Okay. Just to be clear, I don't want you to have to start for 75 seconds. You're supposed to take it really slow. Okay. I wasn't trying to watch you. So. I think we're almost at 90. 10. I know this is like watching paint dry. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay. So next, I would like you all to channel your inner 5-year-old and write your name like a 5-year-old would write it. Fast. And then I'm going to walk down and look at some of these, if that's okay. Okay. Do you mind if I see? Okay. I see yours. Okay, so practice was Ellie, and then where's your fast one? Oh, that's your fast one? Okay. Okay, cool. Awesome, thank you. Okay, I don't need to go all the way up there. Oh, does anyone want to show me? Okay. You have a good one? Okay.
That's like a 5-year-old.
Okay, that's how you're trying to work. Okay, and then that's your slow.
This is my slow right here.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Can I see yours? Thank you.
And then,
Okay, that's your slow and that's like a 5-year-old?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a better one. For my example. Okay, and that's your 5-year-old, that's slow?
this is slow.
Okay.
Let me see your.
I don't know if I should have been doing this with early educators but I'll explain. You know how to write like a 5-year-old. But there still is a point, I see it. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, there's a few that still, okay. Does anyone else want to show me or should I go back down? Okay, cool. Okay, so there are a few examples where that worked, but should I turn this off or can you hear me? Oh, that's not good. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so when I normally do that, and it's still, there's a few examples here. The sample where it's very slow looks like a 5-year-old. The sample where they're trying to look like a 5-year-old does not look like a 5-year-old. This is a skewed group. So a lot of people seem to know how to, make the writing look like a 5-year-old. Now, the point of this is when you have the component skills, when you don't have the component skills necessary to write much faster than a minute to 30 minutes, most people, the last time they took 30 seconds to write their name was when they were 5 years old. And you'll get handwriting that looks more like a 5-year-old than when you're going fast. Now, the point of that has to do with behavior is it's important not to imagine ourselves like what someone who has all the component behavior, the social, emotional learning, and the foundation to behave the way we want them to behave or is a functional member of society. So it's important to actually think of a situation where you did not have the skills to behave, even as an adult, and what you did. Because by reverse engineering that, sometimes it's easier to see the function, which we're going to talk about next, of the student's behavior. Now, I'm going to give you an example from my life of when I did not have the component skills to behave appropriately. I did not have the communication skills to behave appropriately. And let's talk what happened when I was 35. So I was in rural China, and I was trying to see a consultation. And I didn't learn any Chinese, which was not a good thing. So I had my phone, and my assistant had put on the address that I was going to, which I could not say, and we were getting more and more in rural area. And I could tell, or my impression, the taxi driver was circling. And so I'm late for my appointment, my phone's going out of batteries, and I have no way to communicate with anyone else. So after about the third time the taxi driver circled, I just started pounding. Well, I didn't pound on the window first. First I said, ting, 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 stop, 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 stop. Then he wasn't listening to me at that point. And so I kind of, not really badly, but I pounded on the window. And so my component skills, I had no communication skills for this situation. My little person I could communicate with, my assistant, was about to leave me and I had no way to get home. And I thought that the taxi driver was causing my problem and could solve my problem. So I started using one-word phrases and pounding. So I think that's an example for me of what happens when I don't have the component skills to behave in an appropriate manner. And this will be important in functional assessment and functional analysis for preschool that we'll talk about next. And we're at 210, right? Okay, so we'll move forward. Oh, does anyone have any questions about that? No, okay. Okay, so, I have to remember it's on this. Okay, section 2, strategies and implementation. Okay, so we're gonna have strategies and implementation in this section, imagine that. Okay, so some methods for early education classroom for dealing with behavior problems are a modified positive behavior support framework. We're going to talk about all these methods as fast as I can. A guided learning concierge system, which is just basically an individual learning plan with one, like a point of care, probably educator who organizes the guided learning concierge, and integrated social emotional learning. Those are the 3 methods that we're going to discuss briefly that we'll have a lot of resources on in the website when people want to look more, and to kind of give a framework. And I would like to have concrete examples if we have time. Okay. So techniques. Okay, let's talk about this a little. So positive behavior support framework. Oh yeah, it's here. Okay, I'm working with two computers. Okay, so reinforcement strategies, preventive strategies, and teaching replacement behaviors. You probably all know that. Reinforcement strategies are the best way of getting people to do things besides, for any person, besides replacement behavior or skill, making skills more and more strong or building the foundation. That problem is reinforcement strategies are hard to implement because it's often hard to figure out what someone wants. One key to figuring out what someone wants, I heard this example once of a famous educator, I think in Kansas State, who the reporter came to see him. It was Ogden Lindsley. And he said, well, if you know everything about children, why is that child crying? And then he replied to the reporter, I don't know why, they haven't stopped yet. And so I think when the problem behavior does stop, you can at least have some idea of what the person wanted. Although in complex problem behaviors, especially in early education and it's special education, it's a little more complicated, as we all know, and functional behavior assessment methods, which we can discuss. And I'll give you some more ways to discuss it at length with me if you want to. I'm always up for that. Now, preventive strategies are antecedent strategies. That means before the behavior occurs. Ideally, that's changing the environment around based on the behavior or environmental enrichment. Most early education environments are very enriched environments. In an enriched environment, there's a lot of opportunities for the student to respond. So there's going to be a lot of social opportunities. You may have to make them. There's going to be a lot of play opportunities. You may have to make them. There may be a lot of eating opportunities, probably not, but I like those. But that's part of what is an inclusive environment, including a lot of sensory things and teaching environment replacement behaviors. Okay, so guided learning concierge. Okay, you can read that. I think we'll have this, so you can read all through this. Integrated social learning. Let's move forward. Okay, so behavior support in preschool. So inclusion includes an individual education plan for diverse learning styles and abilities. So what does this mean, right? What it means is looking at each student's strengths and weaknesses, and also, I think most importantly, their ability to communicate, how they communicate, and how we're reinforcing communication. Some people believe, and I'd like to hear what you said about that too, because this may not be right, but that all behavior is communication, and that allow an environment where communication is not just the skill set, is not just included and taught, but also it is recognized and responded to. This is also, we're talking about an inclusive environment. There's a movement now that I think you may have heard of it called a participatory environment. I believe the superintendent gave the example of accommodations where, they were just giving more time on a test when really some of the students needed Braille. That would be participatory Braille. It's allowing every student to participate, to have autonomy, to act in the community, not just like, okay, let's make something a little different. Let's give them headphones because it's inclusion. Well, that's great. And I like inclusion, but the ultimate goal for education, for preschool education and for community, in my mind, is allowing everyone to participate and access to opportunities, learning opportunities, and social opportunities. So anyway, and behavior support actually helps that. Okay, so, we're someone new. Okay, I know I need to breathe too. Okay, so I just have to keep my notes like this. Okay, so a responsive and nurturing environment, we're going to go to best practices. And I would love to have more time to talk about how we can do that like in everyone's classroom. I'm not sure we do right now, but play-based learning, individual learning plans, and a responsive and nurturing environment, which kind of doesn't really make sense. I mean, it does, but like that's actually takes a lot of planning to make a responsive and nurturing environment, especially with a lot of different needs and with a lot of behavior issues. It's kind of like, you have to have a lot of planning, a lot of identification, and especially with functional behavior assessment, a lot of staff interviews, and honestly, identifying your reinforcers and staff reinforcers. Okay. Okay, inclusion. Okay, so inclusion and participation accommodate, as we know, diverse learning styles and ability, create an accessible environment, and it's really important to have collaborative partnerships. It really does take a village. Then, okay. So I think you've heard the phrase, if a student doesn't know math, you teach math. If a student doesn't know reading, you teach reading. But if a student doesn't know how to behave, you have to teach them how to behave. And an individual behavior support plan does just that. It creates collaboration between the community and the parents, meeting them where they're at, not meeting them where we wish they were. Also collaboration between the educators and any sort of specialty people that are there to make sure supports. We meet also our fellow colleagues where they're at, not where we want them to be at, and effective communication with these individualized support plans. Okay, so we have a case study here. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I keep on doing one or the other. Okay, so Mary Moppins just notices a decline in the overall dynamics of her 4-year-old classroom. So she identifies specific behaviors she wanted to encourage, such as sharing, taking turns, and listening. This may be more complicated in classes with more diverse students or more severe problem behaviors, but the same principles apply. You have to identify the behavior you want to encourage, identify the function of the behavior. We have those methods online that if you want to, in additional resources, and also identify a replacement behavior. For this simple example, she encouraged sharing, taking turns, and listening. Those would all be replacement behaviors for hitting, yelling, or not inappropriate confrontation, and not listening. So next infographic, she created a designated area for different activities. That would be environmental modification. I think most early education student people know about this, but it maybe kind of just doesn't hurt to get another set of eyes if you don't think the designated area is working for the designated space. She utilized a simple behavior tracking app designed for preschoolers. There's a lot of those. And so whatever one works for you is the one you use is the best one. And so, and the preschoolers responded with enthusiasm to positive reinforcement, creative, a more cooperative and joyful atmosphere. What I like about this is that Mary made a good plan, because planning is crucial. And I think actually the more communication barriers we have, the more crucial planning is, just to make sure that we have identified the correct function, because it's not going to be as obvious and it could be multilinear. Okay. Section 3, empowerment and support. Okay, so empowerment, support, and action is enablement, and it allows full participation of the educator in professional development and in changing, learning new methods and strategy and seeing real results. Okay, I'm not on my thing. Okay. So we're going to briefly talk about SMART goals in the preschool classroom. Who has ever used SMART goals before in their professional lives? Okay, cool. I think SMART goals are actually part of planning and good for inclusive education plans, because you can make them for yourself or for yourself as for your classroom, for yourself with junior teachers, or for yourself with students. So a SMART goal is specific. For example, enhance vocabulary development by using 5 new words during daily story time. Functional communication training is also behavior support. Measurable, you can see that example right there, and achievable. So that's what a SMART goal is. They're also relevant, time-bound, and activities. And then we're going to have, does anyone have any questions for the last 5 minutes? Or discussion? Okay. We will have resources in the link provided, which I'll show you, that have little workshops and activities for the major things we've discussed. I just was kind of giving a theoretical overview. And so, all the like actual statistics will be in the appendix. And okay, oh, sorry. If you want to get in touch, I know everyone hates AI here, but I actually have trained an AI coach. I was training on what the superintendent says today. And so you can ask really specific behavior support questions. Let's see if it works. I mean, I know it works, but let's see if it works on this computer. So I'll give you an example. It's not just ChatGPT. Okay. And okay. It's been making me log in because it's not my computer. Kennedy and autism. So it's already been trained on the presentation before. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? I'll show you guys really quickly. Okay, so like, what is Ann's contact? What is Ann Kennedy contact? Okay. So this would be really, yeah. So this is really specific information. Okay, so this is like, this will be trained on more behavior support. If you just have a quick question. And I like the idea of actionable examples and more framework that's not just methods. Right now, I haven't put in actionable examples, although it is supplemented by the computer. Okay, so that is, if no one has any questions, that is what we have. Thank you. Okay, oh, here's the thing. Okay, thanks. Hope you all have a nice conference, and I appreciate the really cool translator too. Okay. Thanks. I have an idea.